Oh hey, we're back again. Next day. Was a little shattered on the backside of the lean-to this morning, so actually ice on the roof, so I couldn't get up there and work on the low eave trim or soffit. So we ran the rest of the rake trim up the side of the building and just about to put on the peak box. So I think to me that's kind of an accomplishment because we're almost getting there. It means this side of the building is done, and that's kind of awesome. So put on the peak box here, laying down a bead of silicone up here and then up here. And then at the seam here, then we'll attach it on with pop rivets, then a couple of the self-tappers on the bottom here, and then hopefully we can move on to getting back on that soffit because I really have to get that done. Our forecast was supposed to be beautiful weather all weekend, sunny and low 40s, if you consider that nice. But now we're looking at rain and snow mix tomorrow, which is not what I need to finish up working on the roof. So we're gonna get back to it. We'll get this peak box on and hopefully move on to the roof again. Nice thing about the peak box is it covers up any indiscretions you may have had putting on other trim. We have the tacky tape we could have used here, but I think it just kind of sticks up a little too much. So I think doing the bead of caulk and rivets will give us a little more of a flush fit, unlike my ridge cap. Was not terribly excited how that turned out, but a few of these panels over here got a little squirrely. So it's not quite perfect, but you really never see it from the ground. So that's it. Spot on, here we go. If you don't believe me, look at that, spot on. So we're gonna go ahead and get the rest of the rivets on the two sides and the top here, and then move back to hopefully the lower eave trim and soffit. All right, folks, well, we're back again. It's only been a blink of an eye for you, but it's been most of a week for me here. The weather's been pretty poor and haven't been able to do anything outside. But in the meantime, what we've been able to work through is getting some stuff set up inside. So I originally had the one camera set up and some Wi-Fi garbage over here, and just with some random spare parts in the basement, I've started to put together what will be our rack. And I've got just a 24-port gigabit switch up here, 24-port patch panel, and then just that same wireless access point laying around, just so we can get a better connection up to the house. That Wi-Fi router was only 100 meg and the switch is gigabit, so that is a better uplink. The camera just seems to have a little better luck in getting its video up to the house and not disconnect in the process. So eventually we are going to have probably a 12 or 16U rack here to hold stuff, power supply, a better switch, probably a PC in here for hooking up to the TV. But we'll end up throwing another one of the Ubiquiti access points up here somewhere, and getting rid of this little cheapy router I had laying around. So that's again in the future. Again, getting that wiring tied up behind me, get that cleaned up because I'm a little bit OCD about that. The other thing we've done outside here is we've gotten all the measurements for the trim for our door jamb. So I'm going to go up and grab those and put those on. I did find using doors from a local source versus the steel doors from Great Western, a little bit more of a gap between the door jamb or the door frame from the building and the door casing itself. So they're a little bit offset from center just because I didn't want to have a large gap on the hinge side. I figured eventually that would break off with people going in and out of it. So that may be a lesson learned to just go with the door options from the builder. You may end up with a better fit. But I did go ahead and get all the casing or the trim cut down to fit in here. I think in hindsight I should have put the doors in first, put all the trim on, and then put this door trim on appropriately, but I did not. You live, you learn, you move on, I guess. So we'll go ahead and grab that trim and put it in. All right, well, we are back. We got the door trim nailed on there. You know, it is not perfect, but from 10 feet away, I think it looks pretty good. We've got just this door left to notch in for the deadbolt and doorknob, and then the doors are done, so that'll be our last thing to do. And then, except for one little drip and a pop rivet up here, the front of the building is complete. And I think overall for a novice, it looks pretty darn good for what it is. So we'll just hope for another couple of days of nice weather here coming up. At least that's what's in the forecast. And hopefully wrap up the last 10 or 12 pieces of trim on the back side of the building, and concluding with the peak box way up there. And that'll be the last thing we've got to do, which is good because it is nearly December and I don't like the cold. So we'll be right back. Oof, and just like that, we are back. And that is going to mean we're done building the shop, at least with phase one. So we got a decent weekend here. Saturday was pretty good. Today, Sunday, was pretty cold and windy, but luckily I only had one piece of trim to put up and a couple of finishing touches. So we've got our lifts indoors. They are all cleaned off. Our giant pile of tools has moved back to the garage so I can put those all back together. We've got one of our next projects right here. Our spare parts stacked away, only a few pieces left, random shortcuts and couple of screws left over here and some closure strips. So really, that's all picked up, so we can go ahead and move the vehicles over about 5 feet towards the back of the building. And that's kind of going to be the next question here. What do we work on next? We've got the Mustang. That's going to get the coolant flush and the new convertible top. The 74 Spitfire, that's got a new frame in the horse trailer. Needs to be blasted and powder coated. So there's that. Or there's the 52 Chevy, which needs a lot. Interior, eventually the engine needs to get pulled out, redone, seals, redone. Maybe that's just going to sit down here for the winter. But we got the rest of the building kind of picked up for right now, at least until I find a better way to organize things. Camper's still here, scrap steel still needs to go away, but it's at least confined to one area now for the most part. We got all of our hay, so that's ready to go for the winter. And let's take a quick peek outside quick. We did get our door trim in, so that is all wrapped up and done. Still got to put the deadbolt in. Minor detail. But we got the side kind of graded out here. It's half packed in, half mud, half frozen. So we'll come back here in the spring and do more. Try and grade things down towards the culvert and away from the corner of the building. But we got the last bit of trim up here. Got our trim up. Our corner box, we got our peak box up there yesterday. Look at that picture. Isn't that a phenomenal photo right there? Snap. So, try to clean up our big quagmire of mud back here. And again, mix of frozen and compacted, so that'll have to wait till spring. We got our last door covered up yesterday. So that signifies to me I'm done going back and forth, going up on this roof. So that's pretty exciting. And we got over here cleaned up, graded up as well. All of our trash is picked up. Everything just came together in the last couple of days here. And I think everything looks pretty good for a novice builder of something this size by far. So it's probably a good testament to Great Western for designing a product that your average layperson can actually build. Yeah, the building's up. There's of course some things that I'm not terribly happy with, mainly of my doing some trim work and such. But you know what, if I'm angry enough about it next spring, maybe I'll call the Great Western guys back and see if I can get some replacement parts on order. But overall, you know, unless you're really looking hard, I think the building looks pretty darn good. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the shop project for now. You know, as I've said before, our end goal is to have this split in the middle for a heated workshop area to bring more projects and fun. Down the road, we'll be doing our insulation, heated floor, tack room. You've heard all of that before. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Probably going to be looking at some winter projects here just because I'd go stir crazy if I didn't do anything. So comment below, what would you like to see some work on? We've got that 98 Mustang, or we've got the 74 Triumph Spitfire convertible. So those are probably the two contenders that I could reasonably work on this winter and get something done on. So, or maybe I'll find something at Copart and drag that home. There was a 2001 Boxster that I found the other day. Again, the front end had fallen off of that one, so that is a possibility. We'll see. Thank you for watching the series on the shop. It was a great project to do, certainly larger than anything I've ever done before. And we did have a great group of friends help us. And of course, the guys at Great Western were available by phone and email if I needed anything. So again, this was not sponsored by them at all, nor was any part of this project sponsored. So that's something my checkbook can confirm with you. So if you do like any of this, go ahead and hit like and subscribe below so we can get working on building our subscriber base and bringing more projects to you. So until the next project, stay safe, have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.